Well, hey everybody, welcome to Brickworld, our live stream. We're actually here both in the same state, let alone the same house
Right?
today. So good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us. Those who aren't joining us, no thank you. This is Planning for Brickworld, and we are your hosts. I am Mark Larson, Chief Brick Officer of Brickworld. You can follow Brickworld at most social media platforms. We're going to turn off those notifications so that doesn't happen again. Do not disturb me. Should do that all day. And then, of course, we have Phoebe Schwabe from Casey Brick Lab. Hi, Phoebe.
Hello.
You're right next to me. I'm looking at you through the screen.
I know.
It's very, very bizarre. I refuse to look this way. All right, so we have a couple announcements to make first today. We are sold out of goodie bags for the convention. So if you wanted to get a convention badge and a goodie bag, unfortunately, you're out of luck. You can contact us by emailing us at contactus@brickworld.com and ask to be put on the goodie bag waiting list. If we do end up with extras, we will go through the waiting list at the show, let you know that we have them available, and we'll have them at the box office at the show once all the registrations have been picked up during the show. The other news we want to share with you again, if you've joined us before on this live stream, we've talked about this every week. We do have another hotel room block available as our main hotel room block is filled. The way to find that is go to brickworld.com, log into your account. If you don't have an account or a badge yet, you can go back to episode 1 and we'll explain to you how to do that in that episode. So you're on my page. Down here is Book My Room. That'll take you to our hotel information page. And here we have our main room block, which you can check availability for either through this link. We highly recommend calling this number first. I know a lot of people have had good luck with getting a hotel block at our main event block. And if that is full, then you click this link here under secondary room block. It is down here at the end of the second paragraph. And that is a hotel that is very close by, and we have free shuttle service between the two hotels. It is just across the expressway.
Do not walk.
Do not walk. It's actually illegal to walk. There is no crosswalk. But the shuttles run 24/7, and they are available for free to our attendees. So that's exciting, right? We sold out the hotel for the first time ever in early March. Well, no, it was February. That's right. So here we are. Tonight's topic is just really way back to the basics about how to find inspiration for building a mock if you've never built a mock before. So you have lots of people who come to the show. I don't know what the percentage is, but there are definitely a lot of people. I'm used to hearing the thing like, I had a great time this year. Maybe next year I'll bring a display.
Right.
And I'm looking at you, Abner. Some people who have, not going to mention names. Too late. All right, people who've been to all of our shows and never brought anything to display, but they're really excited about being Lego fans. And so, if you find yourself in that boat, and you don't have to build mocks if you're not interested in it, if that's not what draws you to the Lego fan community.
I haven't brought anything yet.
But you build.
This is true.
So does this apply to you, Phoebe?
I don't build a lot though. My husband
Really?
builds more.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was under the impression that you build a lot.
Not really.
You just like to manage things?
I do.
Okay. Everybody has their...
I build sets.
Yeah. A lot of people out there, especially after the pandemic, started building sets, and that's how they got back into the hobby, was building official sets. And so maybe those people just want to see what people can do, but also like to build the sets, and that's what... Yeah. And that's like there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you do have the inkling to like build more or build your first, we're going to try to give you some brainstorming ideas on where to get started. So let's see, because I took notes, so I would know exactly what on earth to talk about in this. And so so this is real simple advice. Everybody has to sort their bricks in order to build something original. You see everything out behind me here that's been behind us that has been purged from the basement that flooded, and hopefully it'll be going back down there soon. But sorting takes a long time, especially with a collection like this that's been developed for years, and then buying Brickworld has doubled the amount of brick that I've acquired, and it just a lot of it comes in mixed, or it comes in sets, and you want to part it out into it, and so you spend a lot of time sorting. So when you're sorting, you've got it in your hands. It's fun to just kind of see like how the pieces fit together,
Mhm.
like just connect things different ways, how the shapes might work together, pieces you might not think ever would belong in the same thing. Just see what they look like, see what they remind you of. It does. You can fall down a rabbit hole with this, especially when you're like when you have a lot to sort, and so it's just nice having it in your hands in that way because it's kind of mindless sorting things
Mhm.
away, and so you kind of free up your mind and just start looking at the shapes. Real basic one. That's an easy way to get started. So then I guess the next big question for you to ask yourself is if you're going to build an original creation, something that isn't an official set, do you want it to be an original idea or do you want it to be a replica of some other sort of property or something that exists in the world? Like what type of builder do you want to be? Do you want to build it from your imagination or do you want to build from someone else's imagination? And both ways are completely viable. All your ideas are valid.
Yes.
Within reason.
Within reason.
But a
Don't
vast
steal
majority.
somebody's copyright.
Exactly. A vast majority of your ideas are valid. Are valid.
Legal.
Yes, exactly. Are legal. Yes, exactly. That's where I was more going. So once you're there, you know what you want to do. I mean, there's a lot of different types of creations that are out there, and so I just threw out artwork as the first example. So if you want to do like mosaic art, a lot of people do different types of Lego art, do different types of sculpture, do different, and a lot of people replicate existing art instead of creating their own art. Both ways again are valid. Now there's lots of tutorials online. There's lots of examples of these things online. So just following people that you admire on social media and seeing the techniques that they come up with. And it's always good if you find a Lego artist that you enjoy, and this is not just for artwork, this is for any type of creation, and you admire the way they build, and it's inspiring to you, comment on their posts. You might spark up a friendship, or you might spark up just a good conversation about different techniques and get your mind unlocked and get you inspired in different ways to build on your own. So if you are, I would say, if if
you're on the fence.
Exactly. Well, if you there's different ways to do it too, because you can have your own idea for artwork. You can have a painting that you did that you want to convert to brick, right?
Yep.
Or you could have an idea for, let's say, the Mona Lisa.
Yep.
It'd be fun if she was wearing a cowboy hat, and so you can make
tie-dye shirt,
or both. Let's see. This is something we have to make happen now together. Just like how to make white bricks yellower.
Yes.
The workshop we're going to do on that. We got Phoebe and I are bringing lots of stuff to Brickworld this year. Hope everyone's really excited about making their white bricks yellower because we have a technique and we're going to show you how to do it. Except this is false. Just
False
in case
information.
anyone really looked for this workshop, which no one would attend either way. But so basically that. And as you're coming up with these ideas and you start building it, you'll come up with like a tool kit, a toolbox of the techniques that you may fall back on. That's why I always tell people, like, if you're inspired to build, you really like someone else's technique, don't be afraid of trying to replicate it, because you're not going to know the exact technique, or even if you do, you might not have the exact collection to be able to replicate it the same way.
Right.
And then you'll come up with your own tools to make it the shape as close to the shape as you want it to be without having those exact tools.
Right.
And if you do end up copying someone's technique exactly, well, just tag them and give them credit. And that may give you another opportunity to connect with that person and maybe have further conversations or even a friendship with that person that you already admire in the first place that inspired you.
Well, and it might just help you learn how to build something differently from how Lego builds it when they have their instructions. So, gives you an idea of how to build something without the picture instructions in front of you.
Exactly. Building without instructions is kind of like what most people think of, or at least from my perspective, maybe this is incorrect. Most people view Lego fans as like people who build without instructions. Not necessarily totally the case anymore. Yeah. There are people out there who just like to see the creations and post them on their social media. We got a bunch of people who are like content creators who are big fans of the Lego community, and that's how they're AFOLs now. They don't necessarily do it themselves, but they're excited about what we do, about what other AFOLs do that build without instructions. And that's a good thing to do, like, at shows, because if you see a technique that you like or a create, hi Matt, that's my husband in the background there. If you're at a show, if you're at a convention, or even just like being introduced to a lug or small group of people, anywhere you see somebody's technique at the convention that you like, strike up a conversation with them, and that might open up new ideas for you as well. And again, get you some more resources, because this has happened to me several times. I've been building so long and I'm so old that like people will be like, what piece is this from? Is that a Mega Block? And I'm like, no, it is not. Minifigures with animal heads are not Mega Block, and they're not Chima either. But it's also a good way to meet people and unlock, new new avenues in the hobby for you to be a part of. If you want to build like existing IPs like Star Wars, I mean Star Wars, you are in big luck because there is a ton of like schematics and dioramas out there of all of the ships and the even some of the locations and like different characters. There's a ton of material out there for you to base your creations off of. I personally like to get inspiration from non-Lego things. Like if let's say I really want to build a waterfall, for example, I'll look at pictures of waterfalls instead of looking at pictures of Lego waterfalls. So if you like to do the same thing, there's a ton of stuff out there for people who want to do like Star Wars, Harry Potter, like all these existing IPs. One of the places I like to look, actually we'll get to that in a minute. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get to that now. One of the places I like to look, I have that on a different tab. So give me 1 second to reach across Phoebe here to type. One of the places I like to go for inspiration from other people's work is Pinterest. So if you don't have an account on Pinterest, check it out. Your privacy matters to them, so don't worry about that. I'm sure that's sincere. Here's my profile here. You can go ahead and follow me on Pinterest if you want. This is my personal account, and therefore, over time, I've learned to make most of my boards private. But the biggest board that I use, let's see if I have an example of something I copied on here. Definitely. We'll definitely get to the Fabulon Houses one. I think, maybe the Mayan temple, where it was like we needed to make a temple for our haunted amusement park. And I basically went in and just kind of pieced parts of these together. I didn't build an exact replica of anything, but I kind of built something that was a conglomerate, if you will, like a mashup. Mayan-esque, yeah, or like this temple-esque with like a different top or like different sort of like snake carvings on it or something like that. But what I've done over time, and this is probably the most, since this is public, I get a lot of comments on this or get a lot of follows through it. I mean, 52 over time, but it's just like by comments I mean notifications that somebody liked something else that I posted. This thing is prolific, and what I've done here, there's so much that I want to do with whatever this layout would be, this great huge Fabulon layout that would come together at some point, that you can go on Pinterest and make different folders. So I want this big Fabulon village, but I want there to be an orchard, a harbor, a city gate, a fisherman's cottage. I want there to be towers, shops, and then interiors, because I want everything to, of course, have an interior. And then these are all uncategorized down here. I'll get them into a folder at some point. But then the fun thing that Pinterest will do for you is the more you pin things, the more ideas it'll give you. Wow, I have a lot of uncategorized in here. So they're still going. So if you find your way to the bottom of this, it'll say more ideas for this board. Wow, that took a while. So, I mean, it is, I don't know if anyone else has heard this term, but it is really easy to fall into a Pinterest hole and just keep hitting this button and being like, oh, that's beautiful too, that's beautiful too, that's beautiful too. So you have to pull yourself back from that, because the sun will be rising and you won't notice because your eyes are stuck on Pinterest.
Rabbit hole.
Very much so. All right, what else I got here? So yeah, if you're doing existing IPs, like I said, you're in a lot of luck, because as many fans as there are out there, or like for Star Wars busts, they build those maquettes. If you like to build blockheads, like you can look up a Funko Pop. Like there's all sorts of inspiration. That's a totally, again, I don't think that's really stealing. I don't think that's stealing at all. I mean, that's a valid way to build, and it's a great way to again unlock your creativity and unlock whatever avenue it is you want to go down and building your own creations. Yeah. Just because it's not completely your idea doesn't mean it's not your creation. That's kind of one of the nuances of being a Lego builder, or a Lego fan designer, a mock builder, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Yeah. We should come up with like one term where we always say like, this is the person who builds their own stuff. If you're a 1-to-1 replica builder, and there's a lot of those, like you've seen last year at Brickworld, we had a bunch of like wearable Lego stuff, which was really cool. And
super cool.
And that way, if you always want to be a fashion designer, but you never went to fashion school, you don't have to do an exact replica of like a Gucci gown, or like, I don't know where that came from. The Oscars were on yesterday.
That's why. It was on the bingo sheet.
We played red carpet bingo at this bar by our house, by my house. It's not her house as well. But the because they were in Chicago, I had introduced some fun things, so I took them to an Irish dive bar, I was really surprised they were watching the Oscars. Actually,
Right?
I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. So one to one, there's a lot of really cool things at Brickworld. You might be able to see them in some of our galleries on like Flickr, Instagram. I said Flickr first because there's a lot of Brickworld galleries on Flickr still, because
Yes.
some of us are old. But Instagram, YouTube, you can look up Brickworld Chicago and see some really interesting stuff. A lot of the one-to-one stuff is amazing. What some of these people do with building, like stained glass lamps or like end tables, or I mean, you name it. We built a one-to-one. My group, Eurobricks, built a one-to-one potion shop. Everything
that
was
cool.
was a one-to-one scale, and with that, I mean, you're in great luck because there's all sorts of research out there. If you want to build this table, you can just look at the table.
Yeah.
And then just try to copy it as best you can and see what shapes out of Lego make whatever this table looks like that you can't see, so it doesn't matter. But any piece of furniture in your house, if you're a one-to-one builder, you're also in a ton of luck, just like the IP stuff. But let's talk a little bit about if you want to do original work. Like, how original do you want it to be? Do you want to do like I did and go on Pinterest and like put a bunch of ideas together and make it original? Because a lot of those sketches that I save on Pinterest, they are someone else's sketches. And so I'm just putting together a couple of sketches, or I'm taking ideas from all different sorts of sketches. So is that original, or is it inspired by a bunch of other people? That's a super gray area as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And it actually bugs me so much that I insist on doing my own sketches. And I hear this all the time. I've done quite a few presentations about this, and a lot of people just gloss over for like the sketching part, because 90% of people I say this to are like, oh, I can't draw. Well, the fact is, you never tried, and you never practiced at it, and you didn't get yourself working for it. So you currently are not able to draw, but you probably can. However, I'm going to run you through this real fast, and I'm going to run over it like a bull, because I know there's not a lot of people who do draw for this, but I'm going to go over this to show you my process for when I need to like put ideas together, and be able to say that it's no one else's. I based it off of my sketch, even if the sketch is based off of several. So again, I'm not sure, it's not coming completely from my imagination, but I'm using some of those sketches to spark my imagination. Exactly. Thank you, Phoebe. So here's what I typically do. Hold on one second. I am on the wrong. There we go. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. Again, don't worry. If your eyes are glossing over because I'm going to start talking about drawing, this will only take a couple seconds to see how fast I can go through this. Got like a very basic, not even a Cartesian grid. It's just an angled grid. I would show you how to make it, but this is not what this is about. So I go through the process of just like making a footprint for whatever it is I want to build. I use a lighter weight pencil to kind of get the shapes going. I can move things around. I use the Mars Lumisted graphite. It was really easy to erase. And I start adding details and seeing how I feel about things. Start shading things in with Copic markers, COPIC. If you are into sketching, you will love these because you can shade and blend. And they're also easy to draw over with ink and then re-shade and blend. Anyway, so I'm adding, in this I wanted to add elevation because I'm going to start thinking about topography. And I didn't like that building, so I erased it, moved it over. And then right here, this is something that I've done quite a few presentations on at Brickworld. I check proportions of things. I check to see if they're matching the golden proportion. That's just a pretentious thing I do because I went to art school. Don't worry about it if you're not interested in like matching up proportions. But if you do understand proportions, it is something that you know to look for. It also helps me kind of get an idea, just finding out where the proportion is, like where's the next place. If I'm going to build a bunch of towers, where's the next place to build up to? Right here I found a ridiculous height of 98.9 bricks. And so I'm going through, I'm checking, drawing things in as I go, checking proportions again, adding details. Eventually here, as I'm adding more details, and I get rid of these tall towers because I'm like, I don't have time to build that high. I don't have the bricks to build that high, and I think it looks a little ridiculous. So I get rid of that because I don't like the proportions, on and on and on until I get to the point where I've got enough detail in here that I can't see anything anymore. So then I use that grid, I go a little bit taller. And so going through all of this, this is my entire process so I can see more detail in what I'm going to sketch out. That's why I use that grid to kind of transform those smaller buildings into larger buildings so then I can start working on what I really want the style of it to look like. So going through all of that process, I play around with that a lot, and then I start inking things in. I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. This is the style I'm going to go for. Put all this work in here. This is going to be a city in the clouds, shaded in with all my markers, and then this is what I had time to build. So again, when you're saying I want to come to Brickworld, so this is this, this is this. That right there is actually just this portion of it. I wasn't able to finish the rest because I ran out of time because I was trying to do too much. So this is another little fun pointer is like as you are, people always put it this way. They say maybe next year I'll bring my first display. Guess what? It doesn't have to be an entire display. Displays develop over time. Even a year is a short amount of time to build an entire display. I've been trying to do an individual display for ages, but I don't ever give myself more than a year because I think, well, I've got to bring new stuff to Brickworld this year. Well, you can work on your display over time. Give yourself the time to do the creation the way you want it to. Again, this is your hobby. You want to make sure that you're not frustrated with it. You want to make sure that you maintain the joy in it. So build what makes you happy and go ahead and bring it back every year. If you're making significant improvements to it or like building it out, just keep bringing back the same thing because nobody can tell you can't. Especially if you are, it's something where it's a work in progress. Make yourself happy. Don't bring it to impress other people or win awards. So that's the process I go through, and I just want to show you that there's a great tool out there. If you're not familiar with it now, I would say just turn this off. You can come back and watch it later and go immediately to a website called Bricklink. Because Bricklink is not only a place where you can find third-party market pieces, not third-party seller, genuine Lego pieces for much lower prices than you can if you're just buying a bunch of sets, and a lot of times lower than Pick-a-Brick. Bricklink.com, here you go. But what I'm talking about here is the Studio program. If you go to this this menu tab here, go to Studio, go to Download. You can download the software. Here's what the software looks like. You literally have the Lego palette here. You can change to whatever color you like. Blue, violet, I don't know why I chose that. It was right there. Your parts categories are here. You grab pieces, you drag them down to here. This is not about having a tutorial for Studio. However, once you do learn how to use it, you can also mess around with brick configuration and mock building virtually here in Studio, right? And that way it's saving you the time of digging out the pieces that you want to see if they work together. If you don't have everything sorted the way you want it, or if you were looking for certain pieces, you don't have them, so you can't tell, you can come do them virtually. Now, this is also a process. This is right here I'm showing the orchard I was talking about earlier that I want to do for my Fabuland Village. This is starting the orchard. These are some cherry trees that are kind of like they were the entrance. I think they're going to be the backdrop of the whole orchard now. But working on this in here, when I got it into real bricks, a lot of these pieces, say this 1x2 with the Technic axle on it, doesn't actually hold up that entire tree very well at all. And these branches up here all kind of fell off when I started adding leaves. So once I started putting it together based off of the work that I did here in Studio, it ended up looking more like this. So it was an entire process. I wasn't able to just build it out and it was great in Studio and it worked the way I wanted it to. But then I like building it with real pieces and getting it to actually stand up and work. A lot of different things happen. So it's, again, give yourself time. It's an entire process involved in this, and it's going to look a lot different. It will most likely look a lot different than what you're able to do in Studio. But and don't get frustrated. Just keep going. I mean, I've spent nights where I have wanted to fix something. I've spent several hours and not coming up with a solution, but at least I got 2 hours worth of bad solutions out of the way. I was able to like move on to something new the next night when I had time.
Yep.
So let's see.
It's a good place to start.
Absolutely. Any of this reminding you of any of the ways that you build or that you've seen Nathan build?
Nathan uses Studio all the time.
Nice.
He likes to pre-build in there and then make a part list and go, this is how much it's going to cost me. Can I buy it?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it, you know, and just like you said, sometimes the building techniques that you do draw up in Studio don't always work out when you're doing it in person. So, but you know, then it at least gives you an idea of what you're going for. And then you can already kind of, when you're building it and you're coming into that roadblock, you can kind of already go, oh, I need to do this instead, or let me grab this brick instead. And so it's a little easier to go off the directions of your studio file versus, in person.
Yeah.
It's and get creative without, thinking too hard about it.
It always feels to me like it was a blueprint made by like a really bad engineer. Like, I guess I don't understand basic physics. I didn't realize gravity would pull this tree down every time I let go of it. How dare inertia and gravity work against me?
Or there might be some times where you'll find that there's a technique that you can do in real life that Studio doesn't think you can do, like for angling something to a roof to sit on top of another brick. Works in real life, but it doesn't work in Studio.
And let me show everybody real quick, if you are interested in using Studio, there is a way to stop it from telling you that real life is getting in the way. It's this collision button right here. You can have that on or off. So if there's like a quote unquote illegal building technique happening in your build, this collision button will tell you that it's there. It helps a lot because sometimes you may lose a brick and be like, where is that? And it's actually inside another piece. So all those pieces where you accidentally left it will be trans clear, so you can see where you accidentally left it or like what's not working. And sometimes it does help because you're like, why is it telling me there's a collision? And there might be an actual good reason for it. And you're like, oh, I didn't realize these pieces didn't go together this way. Yep. Other times, if you're used to using quote-unquote illegal building techniques, turn that button off because you're just going to get very frustrated.
Well, and the other thing that I really like that really comes in handy, so Nathan and I, or more Nathan, not me, we were building brick heads based off of some of the Boy Meets World characters.
Oh, fun.
Because the guy who played Mr. Feeney is coming to Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City.
Nice.
And so we were going to build some Boy Meets World brick heads. And so what was nice was he, built them in Studio, so then we could kind of play around with the colors to see what color hair, what color shirts would look best to make the characters look like the original characters. Because thankfully, Studio can say, oh, your pieces that you're using in this build don't come in that color, or they do come in this color. So that way you can kind of play around with the different colors that are available for what you're trying to build.
And I turned that option off too because I don't want to know what the colors really are, because I like to play around with different things. There used to be a check in the latest update. They took this checkbox off, so I don't know where the setting is now. I found it to turn it off. Let's see if anybody in the comments knows where that is, can help me out. There's 4 people watching. Great. Also, we got to talk about last week. We brought up the question, and we didn't have anybody answer it. What is a male peacock called? And I said it like 100 times. And when I was looking back at the live stream, I was like, that's a stupid question because a male peacock is called a peacock. What I mean is, what's a female peacock called? That's the fun trivia.
The fun
What is a male peacock called is more of a trick question, but very stupid trivia. So if you guys know anything about fowl, you should have the answer right there, because the male is the peacock. Anyway, but fun piece of trivia. Yes, Dawn Sloboda got it. It's a peahen. Isn't that fun?
Interesting.
Peacock, peahen. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Dawn's awesome. Thank you, Dawn. Yay. So let's see. Totally unique ideas, mixing original and existing ideas. We talked about that. All right, so we're done. We're done talking about inspiration. I hope you feel inspired. Yeah, if you got any questions about us or about this or stories about your inspiration, go ahead and drop us a line, drop a comment in here. You can email us your stories at contactus@brickworld.com. You can also join the Discord server link that's in the description of this video and join the Brickworld community because we're trying to get some off-season Brickworld community stuff going on our Discord server. We've got forum channel, so you can give us an idea of what topics you'd like to see. Join the topics that have already started. Join us up in the Brickworld community. We would love to see you there. We're there every day for a number of things, so we will see you there if you join. Let's talk real quick. See if I can do this in less than a minute about our sponsors. We're going to say thank you to our sponsors. We're going to start with Indie with Kids because our Indianapolis show is this week. If you are just getting interested in Brickworld and you're thinking about coming to the Chicago show, don't worry about me saying anything about Indianapolis. It's not a convention. It's one of the expos that we do. If you don't know the difference between the expo and the convention, we'll get to that at some point. Just don't worry about it for now. But if you live in the Indianapolis area and you have kids, this is a great website started by a mom. You can put together a weekend. You can just check out some of the venues that are there. You can check out upcoming events. Join their mailing list for promotions and coupons to upcoming shows in the Indianapolis area. Indie with Kids has been supporting Brickworld Indianapolis since its first year 13 years ago, which is actually 15 then? Yes. Correct. Because there was 2 years. No. Would have been 14 years ago because we only had 1 year off there. Rhino's Bricks is also sponsoring Brickworld Indianapolis. Check out his website. He's got a bunch of stuff. He has an eBay store and a whatnot stream. And he also is on Instagram and YouTube, and he's funny. He's going to be at Brickworld Indianapolis. He's going to be doing some set giveaways and probably interviewing some of the exhibitors, vendors, and guests.
Having lots of fun.
I hope so. I hope he has a blast. He seems very funny. I've watched his videos. Awkward Nerd Events is sponsoring our Milwaukee show. They've made some custom minifigures for us to sell in our goodie bags. Sell with our goodie bags, I apologize. Bricker Builds is a big sponsor of Brickworld Chicago. Check out their website here. They make some pretty cool custom sets. They also have a really fun Instagram and YouTube feed. Speaking of which, we have a fun Instagram, and you might be watching us on YouTube right now. Instagram, we are at Brickworld. I'm sorry, we're Instagram /Brickworld. And TikTok, we just joined TikTok. We are at Brickworld Events on TikTok. So thank you for listening to our little plugs for ourselves and our sponsors there. And now we're going to open it up to questions and comments and see what's going on, see if anybody has anything for us. Let's see.
Thanks.
Oh, Michael got his hotel reservation. That's great. Yeah, a lot of people I've talked to, if they call the number, they get the entire reservation at the block rate, which is fantastic.
Right. Yes.
The other venue,
if there's room left in the hotel.
Exactly. Yeah, we have had a couple people not succeed, but we've talked to a lot of people who have succeeded. And if you're not able to get at the venue's hotel, don't worry about it. That other hotel is very close. It's a very nice hotel too. Let's see. And we got a bunch of subs and a hey, how are you, and a peahen and a wave. And it looks like, oh, there we go. Color selector is in the left drop down, has a check mark for real parts. Oh, it's in the other. Okay, I see what she's saying. It's in the left menu. I think so. What Dawn's saying is if you want the color selector.
In studio.
I almost turned off the live stream.
Bad luck.
But we started the live stream. So
we did, and we started almost on time.
I know. I think we're nailing it. So it's over here somewhere. Color selector is here, and the checkbox is hide unavailable parts in the selected color.
There you go.
You find it there. It used to be over here. At least I think it did. At least in my memory, I choose to believe that.
I think it does do it. So after you, like, if you select all of your parts that are in one color,
gotcha.
And then you can go over there and say, okay, what other colors does this do? All of these parts come in.
That is nifty. There's a lot of really cool things that it does. Yeah, Studio's a fun tool, and Ryan Seacrest, no, Ryan Linsner of Crest Hill. Bricks and Minifig Store, our Lego Masters and media coordinator for the Brickworld Chicago show, is here. Hey, Ryan. I am as crazed as I sounded today on Discord. So, and I look as crazed too. I really need to comb my hair. So I think that's all we got now. Ryan just said, "Wow, Mark, wow." Thank you, Ryan Seacrest, our coordinator.
You're not going to be able to get that out of your brain ever again.
Ever.
Sorry,
I just saw Ryan and I saw Crest. Oh, dear Lord. He's made a lot of money. That's not a bad person to be compared to. I mean, I guess. I'm just trying to make myself feel better for saying that. Okay, so we'll be here next week. I will be like getting out of the car after driving back from Indianapolis and coming right in and doing a live stream. Who knows what the topic will be? Who knows if I'm even going to advertise it?
Me.
Yeah, I'm just.
I'll still be driving at that point, probably.
Mondays at 7 p.m. seems to be like, no one else is on Mondays at 7 p.m., so I'll just take that night. And I'm just like, every Monday at 7 p.m., I'm like, why did I choose this night? I'm always so busy at this time. At least it wasn't like Wednesdays, where I'm like always going to be starting a show on a Wednesday. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you join us again. Hope you join us on Discord. Yes. Let us know if these are helpful at all, too, because we'd love to hear what else you might want to see on our live stream.
Tell us what you want to know.
To make us more interesting or less grating or just cuter. Like I can get some sleep so I don't have these bags under my eyes. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.